Hi, this is Pam from the Hooked on Sewing blog. In this video tutorial, I'd like to show you how to make these Fabric Corner bookmarks. Here is a list of the supplies that you'll need, and I'll also leave a link below. You'll need 3 pieces of cotton fabric cut 4 inches square, 3 pieces of fusible interfacing. You could also use just 1 piece or completely eliminate the fusible fleece if you prefer. You'll want to have some pins or clips, a rotary cutter, acrylic ruler, a self-healing mat, a pair of scissors, an iron and an ironing board or ironing surface, your sewing machine, and a point turner. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is to apply the fusible fleece to the wrong side of our 4-inch squares. Now, if you're only using 1 piece of fusible interfacing, I recommend that you apply it to one of the full squares that you're not going to fold, so either the front or the back of the bookmark. Now, my fusible interfacing has a bumpy side and a smooth side. The bumpy side will go next to the wrong side of the fabric. So I have 3 pieces of fabric. I'm going to warm them up with my iron first. And then I will lay the fusible interfacing wrong side, the bumpy side against the wrong side of the fabric, just like this. Line up all the edges, flip it over to the right side of the fabric, and I'm going to lay a little pressing cloth on top of this. This prevents the fusible interfacing from sticking to my iron. So just a scrap piece of fabric that is larger than the interfacing in the fabric that you're pressing. And really you just follow the manufacturer's instructions, but instead of ironing, you're really kind of pressing. And sometimes some steam will help the interfacing to fuse better to the fabric. Again, I'm warming up the wrong side of the fabric, just running my iron over it. And then I will put the bumpy side of the fusible interfacing down against the wrong side of my fabric. I will flip both of those pieces over, make sure they're still lined up, lay down my pressing cloth, and then take my iron and just make sure that I'm pressing all 4 corners and around on that piece of fabric. Really doesn't take much time. And again, please follow the instructions from the manufacturer for the fusible interfacing that you're using. And this is my 3rd and final piece. I decided to go ahead and apply interfacing to all 3 of my pieces. Again, the fusible, the bumpy side of the interfacing goes against the wrong side of the fabric. Flip it back over to the right side. Lay down my pressing cloth, excuse me, and press. And then once I'm sure that's pressed good, I just remove my pressing cloth, and there are my 3 pieces of my fused 4-inch by 4-inch squares of fabric. And while I'm at my ironing board, I'm going to take the piece of fabric that I want to use as the corner of the bookmark, and I'm going to fold it into a triangle. And then wrong sides together, fold it into a triangle. I put down my pressing cloth and I am pressing a crease in that fold, just like that. I'm going to spritz mine a little bit with some water and then apply some heat from my iron. That'll help that fold lay nice and flat. And if I wanted to, I could also use my clapper just to hold on to that fold, and it will help that to crease even better. So next I'm going to take those 3 pieces of fabric that I have fused the interfacing to, and I'm going to layer them. I'm going to take the corner piece of the fabric that I folded into a triangle, and that's going to be my top right hand corner, and I'm going to pin that or clip it to the right side of my fabric. Now this will be the front of the bookmark. And the other piece of fabric, this will be my back, and I'm going to take it and lay it on top. So I have the front piece of fabric face up. I have the triangle face up on top of that piece in the top right hand corner. And then my back piece laying face down, and I have all three of those layers kind of sandwiched together, and I'm going to take my clips and just clip around the perimeter to hold it all together. So next I'm going to take that to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew or stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance around the perimeter of these squares. I'm going to start about 2/3 of the way down on one side. When I get to the corner, I'm going to, with my needle down, I'll raise my presser foot and pivot, and again continue stitching a 1/4 inch seam allowance down that side. Again, when I get to the next corner, I'll stop with my needle down, raise my presser foot, and rotate my fabric. Now I'm going to leave, about a 2-inch opening on the side where I started my stitching for the opening for turning this bookmark inside out or right side out. Again, when I get to the corner, I will stop with my needle in the down position, raise my presser foot, and rotate the fabric. One more stitch here. Okay. And then I'm going to stitch down and just leave a little bit of an opening there, just big enough for me to turn this right side out. I am going to back stitch to secure my stitches. Now I'll trim my threads. I will clip the corners. And I'm just going to snip straight across each of these corners. And that will help with the bulk when you turn it right side out. And again, clip all 4 corners. Trim any threads that you have, and in the opening that you left, you will turn the bookmark right side out. Just kind of gather it and push it with your fingers, and be careful you don't want to rip your stitched opening, but just work it, kind of tug and gently pull it through until it is right side out. Okay, once I have it right side out, I'm going to get my point turner. This is my bone folder. You can use a chopstick, you can use the blunt end of a crochet hook, the pencil end of a pencil, whatever you need or you have handy to help you push out those corners. And then I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine and just press it nice and flat. Make sure that I have that seam allowance on the side where I have my opening pressed inside about a 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to give that a nice pressing. Once I have it nice and pressed, I'll bring it back to my sewing machine, and I will top stitch about 1/8 inch away from the edge. I'll go around each of the 4 sides, back stitching just a couple of stitches at the beginning and the end to secure my threads. And since my corners are kind of rounded and not real pointed, I am doing a stitch to the end, then I'm doing 1 or 2 stitches diagonally, and then stitch straight down the side. So if you wonder why you see me turning it here like that, that is why. And then when I get back to the beginning, I'll just back stitch a couple of stitches, trim my threads. And now this Fabric Corner bookmark is ready to be used. These are just adorable. They're an easy way to use up scraps of fabric. You can use all the same 3 pieces of fabric. You can use coordinating scrap fabrics like I've done here. Here's a picture of the front and the back of the corner bookmark. Thank you so much for watching my video tutorial on how to sew Fabric Corner bookmarks. If you like this video, be sure to like it below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and come visit me over on the Hooked on Sewing blog. Thank you.